Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. Over the last month, I've had so many different people asking me, what are you looking for as new opportunities to put money into inside of the bear market? Many people are asking me and saying that they have a lot of money sitting on the sidelines, that they're just wondering where to put it. So for today's video, I figured the best thing I could do to you guys would be to give you guys my top pick as we're getting into the close point of the end of the year, as we're expecting that this major correction is going to be over. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my number one pick heading into this next bull run. The number one crypto that I expect to have the highest ROI over this coming cycle, and the one that I think can make the most life-changing amount of money with the very least investment. If you're new and just find this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server, or go ahead and download my free ebook. Links are in the description for both. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now to start off this video, let's quickly talk about what layer 1 blockchains are, what does that mean, and why are they the best performing cryptos seemingly every cycle since Ethereum was created. Now, what is a layer 1? A layer 1 blockchain is simply a blockchain that you can build and create new cryptos underneath it. So let's take Solana for example. Solana has an entire platform where you can actually go ahead and create your own cryptos, NFTs, anything like that. So because of these layer 1s, we've seen a tremendous amount of new value that has entered the market. Because kind of what the issue was when we first had Bitcoin, Bitcoin was really just that layer 0. It was the very beginning of blockchain technology. And with Bitcoin, you know, it works as a system of payment. We can send it, we can receive it. But when it comes to doing anything else aside from that, you know, it's got its limitations. Whereas when we take Ethereum, for example, Ethereum really was the very first example of these layer 1s coming out onto the market. And we can see that Ethereum had a tremendous first cycle. It went up about 3,000x in its bull run. And what we kind of saw spawn from Ethereum was a lot of the ICOs back in 2017, if you were there for that. What we also saw was just DeFi started to take off, and all of this was kind of coming from Ethereum, and then as well as NFTs. All of these new emerging markets have all spawned because of Ethereum and because of layer 1s. Now, when we're looking in terms of all of the other layer 1s, you know, some of the other ones that we can point out are Binance Coin. Now, Binance Coin is a little unique because it's also an exchange token. And it really wasn't until this cycle here that we saw Binance Coin really take this step into becoming a true layer 1. And that was where we saw all of the DeFi, all of the meme coins that took off during this major move up in the Binance Coin. We had that massive move inside of Binance Coin when the DeFi summer was going crazy. And this is all the best performing cryptos seemingly being these layer 1s. If we're looking at where we went from the very bottom of that move to the top, it was over 100x that we saw there. So we've seen a very consistent trend where the very best performing cryptos each cycle are always the ones where you can create other cryptos on them. And I've always stated this on my channel. I've always said that the best cryptos that we can look to buy, the best things that are going to give us the best ROI, are going to be the ones that allow other cryptos to either build on them or add new money to. And DeFi is a prime example of that. With DeFi, you got protocols where tons of money can flow into it all at once that benefits the native crypto. Or with layer 1, you have all of these new cryptos that can build. If one of those ecosystems or tokens does well, it benefits the entire ecosystem as a whole. And so this is kind of why we've seen Solana do so well. If we're looking at Solana, it kind of did what Ethereum did in the last cycle. From bottom to top, we were looking at about 5,000% gains, and so that was pretty insane as far as that goes. When it comes to Polkadot, this was another prime example of one of those cryptos. Now, this one didn't do quite as good as maybe some of the other ones, but I don't think that this one's done by any means. This is actually a crypto I'm watching into this next cycle because I believe that it'll still end up playing out in a big way. Now, from where we ended up launching at to the peak all-time high, it was only about 25x. And if you would have bought in the IOU, that was a point where I bought. I'm not even 100% sure what the gain was at that point, but it would be a little bit higher, probably closer to like 30, 35x. But that's not, too crazy. Compared to what we've seen in other layer ones, that's a little bit smaller. But this is a staple that continues to play out. We can draw the conclusion to Terra Luna. Terra Luna was another one of those layer ones. Even though it collapsed, it was one of the best performing cryptos of that cycle. It's one of my best performing investments of the entire cycle as well. And so when we're looking in terms of what is going to give us the best ROI, think in terms of layer ones. Okay, now we've got that out of the way. What are going to be the layer ones that we need to watch out for? And that takes me into the crypto on today's list today. And just before we get into that, let's talk about how it was created, why it was created, and how it came to be. Now, for you guys that maybe do not know, I'm sure some of you guys do, who here has heard of Hex? Hex is a cryptocurrency that got a lot of hate basically from the very beginning of when it was created. Most people aren't going to remember when it was created because you would have had to been here all the way back to the very beginning of the last bear market. This thing got added to exchanges at the very end of 2019, basically the beginning of 2020, and it was all the way back in 2018 that you would have had to have known what it was to really get that head start, because kind of what Hex was is its entire selling point was, hey, all of this old Bitcoin that is just stagnant, that it's controlled by whales, Satoshi owns 980,000 Bitcoin just to himself, Bitcoin has become a whales game. So what Hex became was everybody that basically locks up their Bitcoin or Ethereum is going to get paid out in Hex. And so they have an opportunity of becoming the new whales, so to speak. And that was kind of the selling point. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people said it was a scam. And Hex ended up being basically the best performing crypto of that last cycle. And so say what you want about it. Call it a scam. Say it's never going to do anything in the next cycle. I don't care. What is important here is to understand that the guy who created Hex has created a new cryptocurrency, and that cryptocurrency is called Pulse Chain. Now, this is going to be a layer one that is built on Ethereum, but it's going to literally solve all of the issues with Ethereum, right? All of the issues that currently plague Ethereum, slow transactions. On top of that, whenever the network gets congested, the transactions get expensive as well as slow. And then you also just have too many issues when it comes to how long it's taken them to overall scale Ethereum. We did just have the next major merger inside of that mainnet. And so moving closer and closer to the F2.0, fully and getting decentralized and moving into what I've always believed Ethereum would be. But it's still taking so long to do it because Ethereum was the very first layer one. Now, Pulse Chain, and the same thing can be said amongst Solana, Binance Coin, Polkadot, all of these different layer ones. They are all trying to solve on the slowness, the transaction costs, and all of the bad parts of Ethereum. They're trying to fix all of those. And in my opinion, the reason why we see these layer ones do so well is because all of the problems of Ethereum are highlighted once the bull run takes place. Once Ethereum is actually being used by a large amount of people, all of the weaknesses start to show. The cracks begin to show, right? And so whenever that takes place, we always see new money flood into these layer ones. And when it comes to finding a layer one at the very infancy stages where we can get in at a small market cap and we can watch as our investment makes us 100x, maybe even 1000x, in my opinion, you won't find a better one than Pulse Chain. And let me explain exactly why. Now, Pulse Chain, I don't need to get into a ton of details aside from a few major talking points that are basically going to be the reason why you start to hear about this and why we start to see the value go up. Now, rule number one with Pulse Chain, it's basically just going to be solving all of the bad things of Ethereum. It's going to be doing the same things of Solana, Binance Coin, Polkadot, all of these other cryptos, all of these other layer ones that have ever tried to basically recreate and better what Ethereum was. Now, on top of that, the reason why I believe Pulse Chain is set apart from all of these other cryptos is simply because of the way it was created. Now, the way that Richard Hart set this up was he set it up in a way where there was no promise value. Normally, when you're buying into a crypto, they promise that, you know, we're going to raise this amount into this cell, we're going to move into the next cell, we're going to raise this amount of money, and then we're going to actually go public. We're going to provide this much liquidity, and the price will be set at this price, right? So by the point of everybody like me, like you, the average American that doesn't get access to all of these ICOs legally, the average person gets access to these cryptos after they've already gone up significantly from the very beginning of the seed rounds, right? And so this is kind of an issue that a lot of people have. They wonder, how do I get early to these cryptos when the only way to get early to these cryptos is to be some type of accredited investor? Well, with Pulse Chain, I think that we have that opportunity. Now, the way he set this up was there was never any promised value. There was never a guaranteed price. There was never any of that. All it was an idea of what Pulse Chain would be, and if you believed in it, then you were to donate money to the SENS organization, which is just medical research, right? They ended up donating, all of the people that wanted to be a part of that donated $25 million for medical research. And so the way that works, the pulse supply increases with the amount sacrificed. The sacrifice set can mint 1 free pulse per sacrifice point. A Genesis address gets 1% of the total pulse supply at launch. So all of the people that basically donated to this are going to be adding to the supply of the Pulse Chain when it comes time to launch. Now, one of the big things that I want you guys to pay attention for, now this is going to be the things that it looks to better from Ethereum. It's the classic example of all of the layer ones. I'm not going to get into a ton of this. I believe that it's going to solve a lot of the issues with Ethereum. It's going to be much faster. It's going to even be better than what I see in a lot of current layer ones between Solana. Because when we're looking at the current layer ones, really none of them are that far ahead of the curve. Solana got a nice head start, but Solana still has a lot of issues as well. Now, when it comes to what I believe is going to be the main selling point of this, what I believe catapults this into the mainstream, is the fact that every single person that owns an ERC20 token on your MetaMask wallets, anything that you're holding on chain, all of your NFTs and things like that, it's going to get duplicated on the Pulse Chain network. And so once that mainnet actually goes live, once they take the snapshot of all of the holdings on the Ethereum network, it gets duplicated right over to the Pulse Chain. And so what's going to happen is every single person that owns anything on the Ethereum network, any ERC20s, ERC721s like NFTs, anybody that owns any of that stuff is immediately going to get it all duplicated for free onto the Pulse Chain. And so what they're going to be calling it is the biggest airdrop in history, the biggest free airdrop in history. So every single person that uses Ethereum, that uses MetaMask, that has NFTs and things like that, you're literally going to get all of that copied and duplicated over onto the Pulse Chain. And when that happens, it's going to be called the biggest free airdrop ever. When that happens, there's just going to be a ton of free money because you're literally going to be able to go and take all of that duplicated NFTs, ERCs, whatever it is. You're literally going to be able to take all of that money and you're going to be able to convert it back into Pulse Chain. And so in the short term, the supply of Pulse Chain will increase, which most likely means the price of Pulse Chain goes down, which is pretty classic of any new added crypto. If we go all the way back and look at what Ethereum did when it was first added to exchanges, it even did that exact same thing. Most cryptos will do this. They get added to exchanges, they might make a listing pump, but then they usually fall to new lows, and then they start their first cycle. In fact, if we actually look at what happened to Hex, Hex did that at the very beginning stages as well. Kind of get added, fall to new lows. If I was looking at a better chart, it would look a little bit better. But it's all the same universal patterns that we see. And so when we're watching these things sort of play out, I think it's really important that we look in years past and we understand what is to be expected once this actually goes live. Now, when we're looking in terms of what all of these other layer ones have done from the very beginning to the very top, all of these did huge gains. And I believe that Pulse Chain will do the same thing. Hex was the best performing crypto of that last cycle. I believe that all of those same people have not forgot about how much they made off Hex. All of those same people already got into Pulse Chain on the early part of the sacrifice. And now when it comes time to go live, the way that this was set up, guys, remember, this entire thing was a donation. So the way that this was set up was you donate money, and then when it comes time to launch, the token's value is actually 0. So there's no promised value of a token at all. You're just going to get the tokens when it comes time to the mainnet launch, but there was never any promised value. You were never guaranteed that you would make any sort of money whatsoever. All that you were doing was believing in a project and the idea, and you donate to the SENS organization if you truly believed in it. You sacrifice your money, and when it comes time to launch, the price starts at zero. It literally starts at zero. So that means that once the liquidity goes live, it's 100% anybody that wants to get into this, that's how it can be. It's not going to be dictated by new whales that are getting into the market, bots buying the launch of the market. It's not going to be dictated by all of these millions of different scenarios that the average guy like you, like me, we can't ever counteract and actually fight against. The big thing when it comes to these launch of these cryptos is the fact that usually when they launch, they go through these seed rounds. So they're already raising money. By the time that the price goes live, the price is already up, and it might be valued at multi-millions of dollars in market cap, which is just unfortunate because we don't get the opportunity of getting in at the low point like the institutional investors do. When it comes time for Pulse Chain to launch, the price is starting at zero. So it's going to be the same as like when we were watching Bitcoin back in the very beginning stages. If we look at Bitcoin, guys, the cool thing about Bitcoin is when Bitcoin went live, it was 100% a community-driven thing. It started 100% simply just because of the community getting excited about it, right? And so when the ledger went live in 2009, the only way that we were even being able to use it was really smart coders being able to program back and forth. And so we didn't even have a way to chart some of this stuff. The price would have had to have started at zero because there was really no way to even buy it. And so this is kind of the same thing, guys. When have we ever had the opportunity of getting in a crypto where we've been able to buy it at the very beginning of zero? And if it turns into something, great. We all make money. We all get really rich together. If it doesn't, so be it. That's just the risk we take. But all of these cryptos that launch are all manipulated. All of them launch at a point where all of the seed rounds have already been, gobbled up. All of the institutions have already bought up all of the supply. And then when it comes time to launch the crypto, they're just taking profits on all of us. I believe in Pulse Chain because for the first time ever, I've seen a crypto launch in a way that was 100% designed not to screw over the average guy. In fact, it's designed to help the average guy. I'm personally going to be investing a lot of money into this. I already participated in the donation. I didn't donate a ton of money, but I did donate a pretty decent chunk that I feel confident in my investment long term. Now, when it comes time where this crypto actually goes live, I'm going to be putting a big chunk of my portfolio into it. In fact, you guys are actually going to be seeing me position a lot of my long-term bags that I've been holding for 4+ years at this point. You're going to actually see me start to break away from those bags, sell some of those, and move it into Pulse Chain. I really do feel like this is going to be one of those opportunities, a rare opportunity, where if you really concentrate your bet and you believe in something enough that you take a risk of putting a large chunk into it, when those pay off, that's how you make the 100 million type of gain. That's how you make the 10, 20, 30 million dollars. You got to make sure that when you find something that looks to be, something that looks like it's going to pay off in a big way, there is a point in time where, having proper risk management and solid, and I always say only invest what you're willing to lose. But when it comes to Pulse Chain for me, I really feel like this is going to be one of those that is going to pay off in a big way. And so for me, I'm risking a little bit more than I generally would. I'm very, very much risk adverse when it comes to my portfolio. I hold a lot of stuff for years and years. I don't do anything with it. It just sits there. If it goes up, I feel good. If it goes down, obviously you feel a little bit worse, but it's all about the long-term game for me with these investments. So when I'm watching this, I have a lot of conviction that this is going to pay off in a big way. And because of that, I'm going to be betting big once this thing launches. It's not out yet. If you're looking and wondering where to buy it, you can't. I will post the link of the website in the description for people that want to learn more about this stuff. Like I stated, it's going to be the biggest free airdrop in history when this thing actually goes live. So anybody that holds ERC20 tokens on Ethereum, on your MetaMask wallets, any NFTs and things like that, you're going to get it duplicated on the Pulse Chain. And all of that's just going to be sitting free money that you can literally take and convert it into Pulse Chain itself. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking all of my NFTs. I'm going to be taking all of my tokens that I'm holding on my MetaMask wallets. I'm going to be converting all of those into Pulse Chain when we launch. And I'm also going to be looking to convert other investments like I just talked about into Pulse Chain when we launch. I might look to wait for the potential where maybe we get one of these drop to new lows and I have a chance of buying it at maybe a 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% drawdown. If that happens, I'm going to be buying it because I'm telling you guys right now, the percent down from the highs of when this thing launches, I don't care about, because I truly believe that this thing is going to do what many of these layer ones have done in years past, and that was be the best performing cryptos of that cycle. So anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. If you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server, download my free ebook. Links are in the description for that. If you guys would also like to sign up for my VIP, if you guys want to get all of my insider access information, all of the stuff, the signals that I post before I post them or ever talk about them on YouTube, links are going to be provided for you in the description. Go ahead and sign up on my website. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you guys so much for the love. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.